Oh, y'all, I ain't gonna lie. This year of teaching online has been a hefty challenge. I never thought I would so miss something as simple as a chalkboard, or that there was something more disconfirming than students checking their smartphones or talking during class. Something about the asynchronous and the telemediated just feels like a broken line of communication. I miss those lines I was less aware of when they were tying us together. I've learned a different set of lines. How our little old cottage in the wood ain't got the best bandwidth, and connections has ways of comings and goings at the worst possible moment. How something like a little dampness in the weather can make you lose your face. I miss scrawling on a board. Something as simple as drawing a line, circling a word. Some of y'all prefer them whiteboards with their special smelly pens, but I miss the dust of chalk and that special deep green of slate. Oh, that noise so particular to the two meeting, how it can sound like a tango, or a scream like the dance gone horribly wrong. And there it is, a set of lines on the board, some continuous, some broken, a solid line, a broken line, but not broken like not working or flawed, nah, y'all. Broken like a new glyph or symbol, a 1 to the original line 0, or maybe a 2 now where once there was only 1. And just like that, we's in a binary world. Now listen, y'all, I tries every day to move beyond binary thinking, but sometimes I think it's just too hardwired into us. Good and evil, masculine and feminine, light and dark, in and out, true and false, normal and not. No sooner do we convince people something like gender occurs on a spectrum than we need to break it back down into the binary of cis and trans. You choose which one applies. And no, that ain't a complaint. It is an acknowledgement that as tedious as they can be, a binary is still a useful concept. What helps me understand it is when we don't look at these binary conditions in isolation, but see them as part of a greater system. Start at the center with a simple line. Break it. Now combine it with another line, broken or unbroken. Continue until you got 3 and add a little imagery or meaning. Keep going until you have 6 lines and 64 variations. Look, that ain't no spectrum. That binary now has become a mandala. Someone 2,600 years or more ago saw that pattern and made a deep philosophy out of it. Other someones added to it, and before you know it, there was an oracle. With nothing more than broken and solid lines, the oracle could impart nuanced and variegated wisdom. Ain't that something? Note, too, that them ancients numbered the final products in an order that seems nigh on mysterious. But if you connect them, a pattern emerges. How some of those lines intersect at the middle, how others hover out at the margins. This, too, is an important pattern. The storylines can tell us about how both center and margins are places of power, places of wisdom, places to dance. I carried this with me when I think about this machine I got to work with, and how it too is run on just a series of 1s and 0s, lines solid and broken, connections made and blocked. And yet here it is, a system that helped us stay connected through a pandemic, a system that informs us, a system that makes intricate art, a system that tells us scary stories and spreads misinformation, a system that allows the marginalized to find each other, a system that gets people elected based on the credibility of a conspiracy. A system light and dark, broken and not. There are other oracles, of course. I'm fond of the line art on cards that is a century-old game that became a parlor trick that became an anchor for combining many Western mystery traditions. But what I really love is how those carefully drawn lines inspire artists today to make variations on the images, drawing their own lines, making their own divinations, I will admit I have spent many hours in this quarantine contemplating these lines. Made-up arcana still survive in this modern world. For example, how our gender is, for some too many of us, a basic binary. Those who believe this myth will claim the science supports it. It don't. They will say it is common sense. Very common. And that don't mean informed. They will pass laws to try to legislate the firmness of categories, and we, being human, will break those firm lines too. Our ancient sages understood. Their gods might represent the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine, but they also understood the power of both together. Them picture cards that tell the future has several figures where gender lines are crossed. The world is literally transgender, but that little detail is often lost on those 19th century prudish magicians. That blending, too, is a powerful part of the mystery, and that line system granted, even in an ancient patriarchal society, that we must balance the masculine and feminine within us, find harmony with humility. And here we are, legislating who can cross the finish line and who cannot. Here we are, ruining the lives of children who refuse to stay in line, who color outside of the lines. Who are these people who line their pockets with the persecution and suffering of others? All they really offer is the evidence of how broken they truly are. I wish I had a chalkboard the size of the country. I wish I could draw on it the diagrams, the endless connections made and severed. How I would let the dust fall like snow in summer, sticking to sweaty skin, soaking in its wisdom. Resistance confounded by inopportune sneezing at the chalky particles lodged in sinuses. This broken line is changing, becoming whole. That solid line is coming apart. They stack up in relation to all around them. Laws and hate will not prevent the change, only add to the texture and pain, perpetuate the lie that we control anything, let alone identity, let alone gender, let alone teaching. That's my line, and I am sticking to it.